Yeah. All right. What? All right. What a start. What a start.
We are almost a month out, roughly a month out. Last year was May 8th when it was decided from the 2025 NBA MVP. You see, football is always in my mind.
Yeah.
So, 24-25 season, NBA is a little different. They call whatever year the person won it. That's the MVP. So, we're not talking about the 2024 MVP. It's really confusing. We're talking about the 2025 MVP. I just want to put that out there just in case there is a little bit of a clarity issue. So we're about a month out before it's announced, before it's decided, and it becomes clearer and clearer that there are two candidates that stand above the rest. That's Nikolai Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So, Jackson, I would like to talk a little bit about this, kind of see what you're thinking, because you are very much nonpartisan, because you are a Bucks fan. You write for the Bucks, so you're not really looking forward to Nuggets or Thunder play every week.
Right.
But I'd like to put this out: if Jokic wins this, he could make history. There are only two people who have ever won 4 out of the last 5 MVPs other than Jokic. If Jokic wins this one, he makes history, winning his 5th one out of the 6 years. So, do you have anything that you'd like to share? I have a lot written down.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a lot of numbers, so I'm going to try to section it off so it's not too overwhelming. Do you have anything that you would like to discuss before I kind of hit those numbers?
Yeah, no, I think the top two guys you did mention have been 1 and 2 for a majority of the season. Both of them, you look at historically, I think there's only been 2 MVPs that I can think of off the top of my head in NBA history who, have been lower than a top 4 seed. The most recent was Russell Westbrook back in 2017 when he averaged a triple-double for the Thunder as the 7th seed. So both of those guys fit the bill. The Nuggets are the 4 seed right now. OKC is running away with the NBA. They already clinched the Western Conference, 14 and a half games ahead of the Rockets. So those guys fit the bill. You did mention I am a bit of a Bucks fan and obviously the Bucks writer for Brew Hoop. I will say that I feel like Giannis is continually disrespected and always pushed aside as that third guy. But at least between Jokic and Shai, I think there might be a sense of voter fatigue coming in for Jokic. Not that he doesn't deserve it. Jokic deserves an MVP. No doubt about it. He makes that Nuggets team go. Like, as well as they've been playing, they lost to the Bulls without Nikola Jokic. Just saying how valuable he actually is. But I think it's probably going to end up going to Shai this year. He's the new guy. Thunder have reached that next mark of being that true contender in the NBA. So it's probably going to end up going to Shai.
So I have a couple numbers to back that up. To me, it's kind of a flip of a coin because the argument you can make both ways, in my opinion. To me, Jokic should have won, as Jack said, the last 4 straight. There shouldn't have been a conversation with that one he didn't win, but we're not going to talk about that. We're only
Joel Embiid.
Yeah. But if we look at it right now, these are the numbers for the two as of today. When you're watching this, the numbers will probably be different. So as of Thursday, April 3rd, 2025, these are the numbers for the two. SGA, he's averaging 32.8 points per game. That's number 1 in the league. 6.3 assists per game, 13th in the league. 5 rebounds, 79th in the league. and 1.7 steals per game, which is 4th in the league. Now you're like, Connor, why are you mentioning the rebound? Like, why is SGA going to have a lot of rebounds? Of course, he's going to be 79th. I mentioned rebounds because of Jokic's stats. Let's look at them. 29.7 points per game. That ranks 3rd in the league. 10.2 assists per game. That's 2nd. 12.8 rebounds per game. That's 3rd. And 1.8 steals per game. That's 3rd. In every single big category, well, blocks is up there too, but the ones we're considering for the MVP race, Jokic is top 3 in all of them. So, that's something you take into consideration, which is why I said the argument could probably go both ways. If we look at it, there's only been, before Jokic this year, 5 times a player has averaged a triple-double. Russell Westbrook has done it 4 times. Oscar Robertson did it once in 1961. If we go back to those years, in 1961 and 1962 season, Oscar Robertson, he went 13, 12, and 11. He did not win that MVP that year. That was one of Bill Russell's MVPs. So you look at it and you say, okay, well, if it's happened before, precedence has been set, it can happen again to where we see numbers like these, video game numbers, might I add, and they still don't win the most valuable player. You go Russell Westbrook, 2016, 2017, he averages 31, 10, and 10, wins MVP the first time he does that, because it's been dang near at that 55 years since somebody averaged a triple-double, right? So, of course, they gave it to Russ. Russ did it again in 17, 18, and 20. Did not win either of those years because they were 20-point triple-double performances. And then Jokic now is averaging 29, 12, and 10, which is really close to Russ's and Oscar Robinson's. Even though Oscar Robinson did not win it, Jokic still has a dog in the fight. So, to me, because of these numbers, I'm a very big numbers guy in any sport. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not the biggest. I love college basketball. Not the biggest NBA guy. But what does Nate say? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So when you look at the numbers and they stack up against each other, you can say, okay, well, we're also not taking into consideration shooting percentage and this, that, and the other. But I'd also like to introduce a narrative. SGA, a lot of his points come from where, Jackson?
The free throw line. Yeah, that is the prevailing thought. He's a free throw merchant.
Okay. How does that affect this MVP race?
I don't know. I mean, if we're talking about like free throw baiters winning MVP, like James Harden won an MVP in 2018, the year after Russ. Like, if we're talking about guys who are foul baiters, I don't think that has much of an impact on the race itself necessarily. But I think the bigger narrative, I think a lot of people are looking at, is new guy on the block with Shea, and the Thunder are back to the best team in the NBA by 6 games over the Cavs in the East. So I think those are the bigger narratives, at least surrounding Shea versus Jokic.
Well, let me ask you a question. So it's become not super clear, but almost certain that the Thunder's going to win probably 70 games this season, or close to it.
If they win out, they'll win 70.
Yes. They'll be close to it regardless. If we look at it, the Thunder probably has one of the best, if not the best, depth in the entire NBA. On Jokic's side. The Nuggets, injury-riddled, their depth's a lot worse. So let me ask you this question, Jackson. Mm-hmm. The most valuable player is someone that is put on their team and makes the most impact. Right? Can we agree on that? That is just probably like in any sport. Yeah. That is probably what in the most
I mean, outside of the NFL always having a quarterback as MVP.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. If we take SGA and Jokic off of the Thunder and Nuggets, which team do you think would be impacted the most?
Oh, that if you look at any advanced metric of like the Nuggets net rating with Jokic on and off the floor, I don't have the exact number. It is ridiculously how bad they are when Jokic is not on the floor. So if we're talking about where they are in the NBA, I think the Nuggets are like battling for a play-in spot in the West without Jokic, because I still like Jamal Murray. Michael Porter Jr. is a good scorer. I don't know who you put at center. Their backup center's 37-year-old or 39-year-old DeAndre Jordan. Still hooping. But yeah, if you take Shea off the Thunder, they're still at least a 40 to 50 win team because they still have Case and Wallace. They still have Alex Caruso, who they could throw at point guard if they wanted to. I 100% agree. They're a much, much deeper team, and they have a fantastic front court with Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, both Jalen Williams. They're just top to bottom, a complete roster.
So let me play a little bit of devil's advocate here. Okay. We just made this distinction. And in my eyes, based on what we've just talked about, I'd give it to Jokic. But should SGA be punished for having great depth, for having a great team around them?
No, absolutely not. LeBron James won an MVP when he was part of the Big Three Miami Heat. Like, we're not going to. Michael Jordan won MVPs when he had the Bulls as the top seed in the East back in the 90s. So, no, we're not going to punish great players for being on great teams. That's ridiculous. Although I will say, speaking on like the whole idea of like which team would be worse without like their MVP candidate, the Bucks might be a lottery team without Giannis. Good Lord. The team employs Kyle Kuzma as their third scoring option, a 37-year-old Brook Lopez, and Damian Lillard, who now has blood clots, unfortunately. So if we want to go down that road, Giannis wins that part by a landslide.
And I think Giannis is currently third place for the award based on the votes. He won't win it, but he's up there, maybe. We can say that.
He's second in the league in scoring. He's going to have another year averaging 30 plus and shooting 60% from the field. It's going to be a 30-point double-double. Like, he's just ridiculous. He's averaging 30, 11.8, and 6, and has 50 double-doubles this season.
But it's not a triple-double like Jokic.
Yeah.
This would be his first triple-double he's averaged in his entire career, which would quite possibly be the best numbers he's put up in his career. Do we give, as far as I'm concerned, Jackson, he's been the best player in basketball for the past at least 5 years, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, he's been the best offensive player. His defense is god awful.
And that's the only thing that brings him back, right?
Yeah, like the two games, because I watched both Bucks versus Nuggets games this year. There were some noticeable, like, he just did not care. Like, there was one play when they were in Milwaukee where he just lets Taurean Prince, who's a good three-point shooter, just shoot an uncontested corner three. Did not even attempt to get out uncontested. He's been bullied on drives by Brook Lopez and other lesser bigs. So he's been the best offensive player. I don't know if he's been the best player in the league, maybe just by sheer offensive might he has been. But if we're looking at that, I think the combination, and again, I'm going to ride with this, Giannis has probably been one of the best, if not the best player in the league. His only drawback is injuries.
Well, this is the point I want to make. Because SGA is surrounded by such a good team, if you look at the top players in defensive percentage this year, as of today, the first four is all on the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And so now SGA is drowned by these defensive masterminds on the court. And so he can't stand out defensively. But that's
And
another
he's a
thing
good
I want to point
defender.
out.
He's not a bad defender at all. He's a
No, he's
really good
not.
defender.
Which brings me to this question, Jackson: is SGA a more rounded basketball player than Jokic is this season?
If you want to throw the defensive component into it, absolutely. Like outside of just the steals numbers, he's a very solid on-ball defender. He's not going to get beat every single time. He has great length, great size, great lateral movement. And I mean, just like taking a look at the defensive rating in the league itself, OKC by 4 points has the best defensive rating in basketball at 105.9. Bucks are 11th at 112.8, tied with the Grizzlies. And then if I can find them, the Denver Nuggets are 20th. They are a bottom 10 defensive team. And again, you look at their star players. Jamal Murray, not a defender. Michael Porter Jr., not a defender. Jokic, not even close to being a defender. So again, like I said, Jokic's been the best offensive player in the league. But if we're looking at the total player and who's been maybe not necessarily the most valuable, but the most complete player in basketball this season, I think it's got to be Shea.
All right, so if we're playing a laser beam pointed at Earth, and you're gonna yell one of these guys, and don't say Iguodala.
Damn it!
If you had to pick who wins the 2025 NBA MVP, let's round it off. Who wins it, Jackson?
I think at the end of the day, regardless of my own personal feelings and my admiration for Giannis, not only as a player, but as a person and being able to have some acute conversations with him, I should show you some of the videos I've taken or audios. Like, he is such an intelligent basketball mind. It's amazing. But overall, I will say Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is probably going to be our MVP. The narrative, the complete player, number one team in the league. I think it all works together for Shea.